Hey guys, welcome to Digital Versus. We have the Xiaomi Mi 5X versus the Xiaomi Redmi Note 4X. How do these two compare in a benchmark showdown? Well, let's find out. We have the Xiaomi Mi 5X on the left and the Xiaomi Redmi Note 4X on the right. So I'm just going to call this the 5X and this one the 4X just for simplicity's sake. So both phones are running the Snapdragon 625. So this is an octa-core processor paired with the Adreno 506 graphics. Both phones also have 5.5-inch 1080p displays. The 5X comes with 4GB of RAM. The 4X comes with either 3 or 4GB of RAM. We have the 3GB version. And when it comes to Android, the 5X is running Android 7, whereas the 4X is running Android 6. So the first benchmark that we've run is Antutu, and straight away you can see here that the 5X scoring a little bit higher, 64,000 points versus 61,300 points on the 4X. In the Geekbench 4 CPU test, we see here that the single core score is fairly similar, 880 and 840, but there is a huge difference here in the multi-core scores, 4,300 versus 2,900. Now I did run these tests multiple times and got the same results. Now I do have some other Snapdragon 625 powered phones and I will do some further testing just to see which one here is a little bit out. So I'm not sure if it's the extra RAM or if it's because it's running Android 7, whereas this one has a little bit less RAM and is running the older Android 6, but there is definitely a difference there in the multi-core score result. Looking at the Geekbench 4 graphics test, they're both performing very much the same here, 3,391 versus 3,378. So it's just in the Geekbench 4 multi-core score that we're seeing a huge difference. Okay, next test is Basemark OS2. So in this test here, we can see here the overall score going to the 5X, 1,249 versus 1,104 on the 4X. So big difference here in the system tests. The rest of the scores here pretty similar, maybe a little bit faster here on the web for the 5X as well. Okay, next test is Basemark X Game Bench. So this is a graphics test for gaming. So the results here, just under 21,000 on the 4X, just over 21,000 on the 5X. So reasonably close on this one here. Looking at the onboard storage performance using AndroBench, so we're looking here at the sequential read and write performance. So starting off at the top here, we have on the 5X sequential read speeds 277 megabytes per second versus 272. Sequential write speeds 211 versus 67. Random read speeds 53 versus 38. And random write speeds 15 versus 13. Huge difference here in the sequential write speeds. The 211 versus the 67, or just under 68. I did run these tests multiple times, and yes, this is very slow at the sequential write speeds. The rest of them not too dissimilar, but definitely the performance going to the 5X. In the PCMark test, we get 4,846 on the Mi 5X, 4,604 on the Redmi Note 4X. So pretty similar scores, about 4% difference between these two, so not too dissimilar. Now for the last test, this is Seascape. Now Seascape does run pretty jerkily on Snapdragon 625, so as you can see here, it's very, very jerky and choppy. We'll just let that run for a few seconds and come back to the score. Okay, so both of them have been running now for about 30 seconds, so we'll go and have a look at the results. And as we can see here, both of them scoring pretty much the same, which is about 3 frames per second, so not particularly fast. Okay guys, so that was the end of the benchmark test. So obviously, as both of these phones are Xiaomi phones running Snapdragon 625, they do perform relatively similar. Obviously the Mi 5X does outperform the Redmi Note 4X though in all of the tests by a small margin. So that can either be down to the extra gigabyte of RAM or because it's running a newer version of Android. But whatever the reason is, this is definitely a little bit faster. So if you want the fastest between these two, go for the Mi 5X. Anyway guys, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Take care and I'll catch you in the next one.